Life as an exchange student in one of the Baltic countries presented its challenges and charms. I, Chloe, found solace and companionship in Anna, my roommate and fellow American. Our shared language and cultural background drew us together, forming a bond that was both comforting and necessary in this foreign landscape. We explored, studied, and lived in a rhythm that suited us both. Our dormitory room, a small haven of familiarity. The tapestry of our daily life at the university, once vibrant and full of color, was abruptly torn apart by an unforeseen catastrophe. Anna, my roommate, confidant, and friend, succumbed to a severe allergic reaction that none of us could have anticipated. It was a regular evening, much like any other, filled with the laughter and warmth that characterized our time together. We had decided to try a local delicacy, a culinary adventure that we, as exchange students, often embarked upon to immerse ourselves in the culture that surrounded us. The meal, though seemingly innocuous, turned into an unforeseen agent of disaster. Anna's reaction was swift and violent. Her struggle for breath, the panic in her eyes, and the immediate chaos that ensued are etched in my memory with painful clarity. Despite the frantic efforts to save her, including the rush to the emergency services, the insidious nature of the allergic reaction left us helpless in its wake. The aftermath was a numbing void, a silence that echoed through the dormitory halls and within the hollows of my own heart. Anna's belongings, scattered around our shared space, served as a haunting reminder of the vibrant spirit that once filled them with life. Books left open, clothes draped over chairs, and notes scribbled with inside jokes, all frozen in time, painted a portrait of a life interrupted. 9 days following Anna's untimely departure, my smartphone, an essential lifeline to the world beyond, buzzed with an enigmatic message from an unknown sender. "Don't peek," it read, a cryptic and unsettling command. My initial reaction was to reach out, to pierce the anonymity with a phone call, but my attempts met with silence. Dismissing it as a distasteful prank, I relegated the number to the blacklist, an attempt to shield myself from further intrusion. The fragile peace of the night was violently shattered by a series of ominous knocks that echoed through the silent corridors of the dormitory, slicing through the stillness like a harbinger of doom. The sound was neither timid nor accidental. It bore a deliberate force, a sinister intent that set every nerve in my body on edge. As the knocking persisted, a cold dread crept over me, a primal fear that gnawed at the edges of my sanity. The door handle began to turn slowly, a silent testament to the presence of someone or something on the other side. The metallic clicks of the handle resonated in the quiet room, each twist sending a spike of terror through my heart. I leaped from my bed, propelled by a surge of adrenaline, and pressed myself against the door. My hands, slick with sweat, grasped the cold metal knob, holding it with a desperation born of raw fear. My shouts, laced with panic and the false bravado of imminent rescue, filled the room, a feeble attempt to scare off the intruder. "The police are on their way," I screamed into the void, my voice cracking under the strain of fear. For a moment, the tension on the door handle intensified, as if the unseen visitor was contemplating the next move. Then suddenly the pressure ceased, the handle slipping slightly under my grip as the presence retreated. The silence that followed was oppressive, a suffocating blanket of fear that left me gasping for breath, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my rib cage. As dawn's first light crept through the edges of the curtains, casting a pale glow on the scene of my nighttime terror, I remained frozen in place, too afraid to move, too shaken to let go of the door. The safety I had taken for granted in this foreign land had been irrevocably breached, leaving me to face the haunting reality that I was truly alone, vulnerable to the shadows that lurked just beyond the reach of the light. University life, a welcome distraction, consumed the daylight hours, but the return to my dormitory resurrected the unease. Another message arrived, identical in content to the warning but written via caps lock "Don't peek," which I again ignored, deeming it a sophisticated scare tactic. The night, however, had its own designs. Startled awake by the sound of the door yielding to an unseen force, I was confronted by a sight that chilled me to my core. A figure, eerily reminiscent of Anna, loomed in the doorway. The visage was distorted, a grotesque parody of the friend I had lost, her gaze fixed on the ground as she advanced with a slow, haunting gait. Panic, raw and consuming, enveloped me, as I sought refuge beneath the thin veil of my blanket. The air grew thick with the cloying scent of decay, a tangible presence that seemed to suffocate the very life out of the room. Prayers whispered in desperation were lost in the oppressive atmosphere, a futile plea for salvation. Sunlight, a stark contrast to the horrors of the night, revealed a scene of tranquility interrupted. My lifeless form lay enveloped in the bed, an eerie calm belying the terror that had unfolded. Clutched in my hand was the smartphone, its screen illuminated by a string of ominous messages, the final one, a chilling reiteration of the warning unheeded, "I told you don't peek." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us likes and comments.